right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. Let's start the conversation on the state of the nation. And my guests are with me here, Honorable Hilary Sigei, Senator for Bomet. Thanks for making time. Honorable Jared Okello, Member of Parliament for Nyando. Thanks for making time. And Eric Okeyo, Governance and Security Expert. Thank you for making time. We're still waiting for Honorable Kongo Mogeni, the Senator for Nyamira. As soon as he comes in, we'll drop him into this discussion as well. But we'd like to hear from you at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Citizen Daybreak. Let's start off with the dailies here. And I'll start with the Senator in the House, Senator Sigei. Who is fooling who, like the Standard is questioning, between this deal between Sakaja and President William Ruto? Before the ink has dried on the cooperation agreement between President William Ruto and Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja, political backlash has already erupted. Critics are branding the 80 billion shillings pact a backdoor takeover disguised as a partnership. Who is fooling who here, Sigei?
Trevor, thank you for hosting us this morning. More importantly, thank you for asking the question. The way the Standard has put it, who is fooling who, is, in my view, the normal headline that would sell. And unfortunately, we have been told before that gazeti ni ya kufunga nyama. So we will read this headline today. Tomorrow itakuwa kufunga nyama. Who is fooling who? None is fooling the other. Between the president and Sakaja, because they have referred them by their names, Governor Sakaja and President William Ruto, they signed this cooperation agreement not for purposes of to fool the other, but for purposes of supporting governance, development, growth of the only city called Nairobi that is serving over 7 million Kenyans. None is fooling the other. If you were to take a moment and read through that agreement, you will understand why it is important. So many stories have been thrown back, forth, and all that about transfer of services, non-compliance with the constitutional provision, no public participation, and all that. But if you listen to the president when he was speaking, and similarly the governor of Nairobi when he spoke shortly before the execution of this document, they said immediately after this document is not going to be implemented until such a time that it has been taken through the County Assembly of Nairobi for members of the County Assembly of Nairobi to approve of it, and public participation also within the period of 14 days before it becomes effective. So we're waiting to see what the members of the County Assembly of Nairobi will say about the document.
Yeah.
And definitely, if they approve of it, the document will be implemented on the terms that the two parties agreed.
Which one should have come first, the signing of this agreement or the public participation?
Good question. The Constitution, in terms of transfer of service, provides a chronology of processes that are to be undertaken. This is not a transfer of service. This does not mean that the county government of Nairobi has transferred the services that were highlighted on those 7 departments in the agreement to the national government. No.
So what have they done?
If then it were to have been a transfer of service, that process would have begun by, first of all, now reaching out to the public, having it approved at the county assembly level, then subsequent to it, then the process of execution of the document would come. This is not. But then again, ultimately, for it to be effective, the agreement has provided that it ought to go before the county assembly for purposes of approval. So no law in this case has been breached, in my view, by the two parties cooperating for purposes of improving service delivery to the people of Nairobi.
Okay, let me hear from the senators first. And Senator Kongo Mogeni is now joining us, Senator for Nyamira. Thanks for making time. We were asking this cooperation between Sakaja and the President Ruto. Is it a cooperation agreement or a takeover, in your view?
You know, nobody understands it. Even, I'm sure you have seen my good friend, Senator Sigei, struggling, trying to find some good English to make justification.
I have not struggled. I've laid out what it's all about.
That what we are seeing is an illegality.
It is legal.
It is an illegality. You know, there is no way, and my good friend is a good lawyer. You cannot, you know, kick off a process of, I don't know which word he's using, whether it's transfer of functions, whether it's cooperation.
It's actually cooperation.
Whatever it is, and I don't know where they're picking that word in the Constitution.
Yeah.
You know, you say you have taken the following steps, you have signed an agreement. Then when it dawns on you that you actually ought to have done it in the proper way, and when the matter moves to court, you come to Citizen TV and tell Kenyans that, you know what, we have signed this agreement, but it has dawned on us that we can still go back to the MCAs and seek their approval. You know, the principles of governance, our national values, Senator Sigei knows, in
Article 10.
Article 10 says that before you make any decision that will impact on people, you first do public participation. What is the purpose of public participation? The citizens of Nairobi could even give you views that could improve it.
Yeah.
And he knows that our courts have said public participation ought to be meaningful. You engage the people, they give you their views. You don't need to take everything, but at least you need to demonstrate that you listen to the people, they gave you their views, you consider their views, and then made a decision. That is the proper way of doing what they are trying to do. And as I speak here this morning, and you read in the newspaper that the national government wants to build sewer in Nairobi. What happened to a company that we have incorporated called Nairobi Water and Sewer Company Limited, that is supposed to do sewers, run our water, and we pay for those services. That's what they are supposed to do. I think if you wanted to improve our sewer, why not engage the Nairobi Sewer and Water Company Limited? Ask them what are your budgetary needs, where do you have strain? You give them money and then they do it. Now, did you see our president yesterday? After signing the agreement, even before they do what he's telling you they will do, go to the assembly. He was on rooftops in Nairobi, telling people that I've come with 80 billion to improve services in Nairobi. I think the sum total, Trevor, is just to do this for campaign, nothing else. And we are doing this in total violation of our Kenyan Constitution 2010.
Okay.
That's not the way you run a country. We can do better in our governance.
Okay. Okay, what are your thoughts? Is this an admission of failure from the county government's perspective, or is it a cooperation that is necessary?
Well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Actually, this is my maiden TV interview for the year 2026. So I thank you for the invitation. Now, the drafters of our constitution actually did not incorporate Nairobi as part of the counties. It was so decided that as a city, and the capital city as such, it was to be left out as we dealt with other regions represented under counties. But politics being what it is, and remember, you know, the original plan was to have only 14 counties in the country. But because of interests here and there, give and take, push and shove, they ended up having the original districts, which were 47 in number, to become counties. The reason as to why the drafters of the Constitution were a bit apprehensive was because of the complexities around running a capital city. You're aware that for Washington, D.C., for example, firstly, it's not even a state, and it is not equally a county, because even in America, they have these boroughs or called counties. So Washington, D.C. was left out just because of such a degree of complexities around it. You remember, even in the last regime, the former President Uhuru Kenyatta had to invite Nairobi Metropolitan Services to help boost the capacity of Nairobi County government, just because of the difficult situation that a capital city runs into. And give it to President Uhuru Kenyatta. NMS did a splendid job. When he invited Nairobi Metropolitan Services to lend support, the noises we are hearing now were not there. Yet you can drive and derive a lot of similarities between these two. It is a political season. The betterment of Nairobians, is pushed to the back burner because we want politics to be at the center stage. We are now, as a country, hosting several United Nations organizations. By the way, most UN organizations in Switzerland, in other areas, are now moving their offices to Nairobi. And there are many in number. In fact, 1,000 employees have already trooped into Nairobi, working with various UN organizations that are since moving here. And therefore, you need to up your game in terms of management of a city. And, the global guests come here. If you have presidents coming into the country, they have to land here in Nairobi. In fact, most of their businesses are transacted here, and they go back to their countries. So these are the complexities that I'm talking about. So the management of a city sometimes, looking at the budgetary allocation to counties, would be beyond the managerial purview of Nairobi County government. And therefore, I do not read much of politics around this. But again, the president has made it clear that this is going to be a cooperation between the national government lending support to the county government. And that is why you had the PCS, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, signing on behalf of the national government, and Honorable Sakaja signing on behalf of the county government, so that there are issues of complementarities.
Doesn't that in itself insubordinate Sakaja, because he's the vice chair and the PCS is now the chair? And that entire committee, 2/3 of it is made of the national government. In fact, county is the minority in that arrangement.
Yeah.
Isn't that an indication of a takeover?
No, you also have to understand that it is not a takeover. There are only 4 distinct roles that they are going to, be in partnership with. Number 1 is roads. Number 2 is garbage collection and provision of water. So county governments run so many things that were devolved to counties, but they are only narrowing down on these 4 essentials to run the county. So if you talk about a takeover, then they may have included all the other issues of security, health, and stuff. That is not...
There's aspects of security that is involved. That's why there's the Nairobi Metropolitan Police Unit that is specially formed for Nairobi.
Yeah, but again, you remember, security was not devolved. So security still remains at the national level. So they may come up with those Nairobi Metropolitan issues to address insecurity in various parts of this country, which we have witnessed.
Okay.
You and I live in Nairobi, and certain times you can be in a traffic, in a gridlock, for well over 2 hours, between a very short distance. Water has become a problem in Nairobi. The garbage and sewerage systems are, usually compromised.
Okay.
And if a solution can be found to address these concerns that bedevil us on a daily basis, it is welcomed. I mean, why do I have to, under the banner of politics, criticize everything that is not even detrimental to any one of us here?
Okay, let me bring in Okeyo. Is this a cooperation agreement or a takeover? Or even worse, is it an admission of failure from the county government side?
Trevor, first, let me thank you for inviting me today, and good to join my friend Senator Hilary Sigei, one of the most sober senators of our time.
Oh, thank you.
A man I hold in very high esteem.
I second.
Even as a legal practitioner, a fine one. Also good to have senior counsel and my neighbor, Okongo Mogeni, here. I've been here with Jared before, so Jared is a routine. Now, Trevor, the Constitution, the laws and the regulations that work in this country were not created in vain. That's how I want to begin. Senator Sigei, whom I have said I respect, I still respect, you have seen the difficulty with which he has struggled to justify this union. It's a union that is not backed by the law, the regulations, or even the Constitution. In 2013, the county of Kisumu, where Jared and myself come from, purported to sign a deal with an international investor for 15 billion for waste management. And that has made me a reference in the Supreme Court. I challenged it in the High Court. And I was called all names. An election loser recovering from the laws, a person who bears no locus before court. But Justice Muchelule, as he then was, said, even a person serving jail can bring a petition of constitutional nature to court. And he said, in purporting to turn waste into power, the county was obligated to seek the views and the approval of the county residents. And he eventually agreed with me and ruled against the county. This matter went all through. It has been cited severally in the Supreme Court. Now, borrowing from that one alone, I want to also say that President William Ruto's government is the only government I have seen in my adult life from where any rumors you hear on the streets end up being true. This story of the national government will take over Nairobi has been there for the last 1 month. Governor Sakaja had denied it. Then a day before the day of signing, there was a media invite to State House now about the relationship. Talk on the streets again is that there exists a foreigner, there's a third party that will ultimately emerge in this relationship. Talk on the streets, and I emphasize talk on the street. But again, every talk on the street about this government, even on appointments, even on state appointments, have all come to pass. I think this is one of those situations where the president, because of the heat of the moment of the campaign, is on top gear to attempt to appease an already very tired and given up populace against his regime. And that's why.
So how will this help appease them, if that's the narrative you take it?
Yes. I'm coming through, and that's why I'm saying. You know, you said who is fooling who. You saw yesterday atop the vehicles, Sakaja couldn't explain anything. He was literally saying, "Sini mzuri boss akikuja na pesa." I mean, honestly, you know, all these things, there's a relationship in the County Government Act that brings support. And I've served in a number of state agencies. There's a very good synergy between counties and the national government. Yeah. And when you see a paper that seeks to introduce itself as a cooperation arrangement, but 70% of the membership of it are serving cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries. And then you bring the governor, who ordinarily was elected by the people of Nairobi to govern them, becoming a vice chair of a person no one in Nairobi elected, called Musalia Mudavadi. Then there is a problem. And that's why, first of all, I can predict that the petition that has been filed stands a very high chance of success. The problem is government does not learn from its mistakes. Every time the courts have a problem with their hurriedly conceived decisions, they find who to blame for it. you have seen my friend Jared here. You asked him a straight question, and he went to Switzerland, he went to Washington, he went to the UN employees, because he truly knows there's no answer he's trying to give here. So Trevor, the point is, the point, Trevor, you know Jared is from a constituency called Nyando. Yeah. You saw what Governor Wanga went through just 2 days ago. So
in his constituency? In
his own constituency. Even as he appears on his maiden interview here. So I think, by and large, Trevor,
for 2026.
For 2026, yes, exactly. So Trevor, as I conclude, this agreement is bound to face hurdles.
Yeah.
And I think Governor Sakaja, like his predecessors, was bound to go through the difficulty he's going through. And for me, perhaps the best thing for the county to do, county assembly, is to reject this whole document and subject all these things to public participation. The Water Act of 2016 takes away any involvement of the national government from water. Nairobi Water and Sewerage Company is a water service provider that is supervised by another agency called Athi Water Works Development Agency. All these are supposed to have been devolved. Why they're still being held in national government is a story for another day. But Okongo Ngomogeni has the constitution here. When you talk about waste, I have just given you a reference point of the petition number 1 of 2013 in Kisumu.
Yeah.
And you come and talk about sewer. Why is the Nairobi County there, the sewerage company there? It has a board. It has the other state corporation that is supposed to have been handed over, still there. The talk of the Metropolitan Police that now CS Murkomen was justifying in Nakuru is also a bad timing. All these things, you could do a good thing, but when the timing is wrong, the whole thing is wrong.
Okay. Yeah. Let me bring in this again. Does this warrant an impeachment for Sakaja like the Daily Nation is alluding now? So we would handle the standard on who's fooling who. Now there's a different one in the Daily Nation, fresh plot to impeach Sakaja. Could this warrant an impeachment?
Well, I don't know that the content, I haven't read this one on the fresh plot to impeach Sakaja. I don't know whether the content speaks to the headline or it's just like the normal headline screaming, story is different. But then, if the story is based on the agreement between President Ruto and Sakaja on this partnership, then it will be dead on arrival, because just like the normal political gimmicks from among parties reading from two different scripts, it will be convoluted within the political sphere, and therefore the objectivity of a proposal of that sort might not get its foundation well. And I do not think that would really be the basis of an impeachment motion. What they would probably say is that, as you at some point put it, is it an admission to the failure on the part of the governor to govern the city county? I don't think so. When you look at what the partnership is seeking to do from among those roles they have decided to partner with the national government, in itself, it's not an admission to do it. In itself, it is not something that you would say would warrant an individual to bring forward an impeachment motion. But let's wait and see. Okay. The thing that I wanted to say is there is a petition that has already been filed in court that Eric has made reference to. Yeah. The Law Society of Kenya has gone to court. Katiba Institute has gone to court. We might not have the latitude to speak so much about it now because it's a subject that's before the court, but we definitely will have to wait and see. Their argument is in the context of the procedure that was followed prior to this partnership being signed. and it was before Justice Mwamuya.
Yeah.
We'll wait and see. It's already been certified urgent. There wasn't any interim injunction that was granted, but parties have been directed to put in their papers for the court to give further directions. We definitely will look forward to see what the court will also say about it. But then again, Trevor, from a perspective of a Nairobi resident who want an improvement of service delivery, you look at Article 186 of the Constitution gives us the functions. 187 gives us the procedure on the transfer of functions. Similarly, the County Governments Act, which was referred to in that address, I think should be Section 5 if I'm not wrong, it gives an opportunity to either of the two parties to partner in order to serve the people who elected them into office efficiently and in a manner that they are seeking to do it.
Okay.
The unfortunate thing, which I want to agree with Eric and Morgan here, is the fact that timing would give it a reading of, is it political? And if that were to be the basis of us, attacking such a noble decision taken by the governor of Nairobi to partner and get these resources for service delivery, then it will be very unfortunate for the people who would be the beneficiaries of better service delivery by the partnership that is existing or that has been clear.
I'll take a quick commercial break. It's the top of the hour. We're coming back with this conversation to wind up on the conversation. Then we get into the politics of the day. So keep your views coming as well at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Citizen Daybreak. I'll come back with the Congo Morgan. I see you have the Constitution there. We'll make reference to that as we wind up on this conversation on the cooperation or the takeover of Nairobi in just a short while. Then we continue into the politics of the day. See you in a short while.